Okay, and we will get started. Thank you again, Reema, for joining us this morning. Fantastic to see you. Could we start by discussing what motivated you to first get into racing driving, especially as a woman in Saudi Arabia? You know, what first inspired you?
First of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, even though we're so far away. Yeah, really good to be here. In terms of like how I started racing and how, let's say, the dream was born, if you like, it wasn't until like quite later on in life for me that I even thought about racing or thought about it as a potential opportunity. I grew up in Saudi, lived there most of my life, and then moved away to the US to study. And that's kind of when I started being exposed more to racing as a sport on TV, just watching it. And I've always had a passion for cars, and I've always had that interest. But I didn't know that there was more to it, and I didn't really. I mean, I knew about it, but I wasn't really connected to it. And I think that's when it sparked the interest of just watching it, following it. I became like a very big fan of different races like Formula One, endurance racing, and Le Mans. And then I basically started going to different track days, and which are basically experience. You take the car around the track. It could be any car, and just having that was another kind of stepping stone. And then I think getting in a race car, deciding to make that step into a race car, it took me quite a while to make the time and decide to give it a shot. And it wasn't even in a professional sense. I was just going after it in a more of a personal thing, and I wanted to do it on the weekends. And then from there, it just kind of really blew up. So I decided that I wanted to sign up for my first race, and I started training a couple of months before that. And then yeah, here I am like a year and a half later doing this professionally. So it was very much like it was let's say there were a lot of things before getting in a race car that happened. But as soon as I got in a race car, everything kind of just like fell into place.
What did it feel like to you when you first got in that racing car? I mean, you say that it kind of clicked straight away. What do you remember when that was, and actually how you felt?
Yeah, well, yeah, I definitely remember the feeling. I signed up for my first race in the UAE. It was going to take place October 2018. And in order to prepare for the race, I was in the UK, and I wanted to practice in as many tracks as I could, and in a similar car. So I guess the first time it was like probably like August yeah, around August 2018. And yeah, just getting into a car and driving the car to the limit, and knowing that you are in charge, and it's under your control, and just sensing that kind of connection between me and the car. I just was like, I guess you would call it like my happy place. And coming out of the car with the biggest grin, so happy, just wanting to go back in the car, wanting to learn it. It's just it was an instant connection. And obviously now I'm just trying to refine the connection, make it better, so that I can go faster. But it felt right being there, and yeah, it just kept drew me to do it over and over again, essentially.
What impact are you hoping that your experience and your success has on the motorsport industry in general in Saudi and the region, but also on other kind of young female drivers, and who are looking up to you? What kind of impact are you hoping to have on the next generation?
I think for me, I didn't think I would be in this position, to be in a position um, to have this effect on people, but also because I'm doing it from, I'm basically doing what I love and really happy about. It motivates me to keep going, that passion. So my advice would be for anyone who kind of wants to pursue something that's unconventional, or that's something that maybe just really means a lot to them, but it's a little bit scary, is taking that step and just trying it. Whether it's for me, it wasn't getting in a race car. For me, it was taking my car on a track and just experiencing it on track. So, taking those steps and approaching it from many different angles will help in motivating you and getting you there. It's not as scary or far away as it seemed, because that's how it felt for me, at least. And I really do hope to see more Saudis racing in the motorsport industry, giving them the opportunity to do that at home, and yeah, create a new sport, because we have that passion, we have that drive, and we just need to have the platforms.
You've mentioned when your next racing is. You've also mentioned that you don't necessarily see this as something you might do forever. What ambition do you have for your racing career before you could put it to bed? Like, what are your dreams for this particular stage of your life? And at what point do you feel you're going to be able to walk away?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, the reason why I said this is not forever is, again, it's just that realistic side of myself. Like, in sport in general, there's a level where you have to stop at. This is a physical sport. I can't be racing, let's say, this level that I'm racing at when I'm 40. I probably could do a different type of racing, but not formula racing. So it's not that I'm like saying that this is not forever because I'm not passionate about it. It's about how realistic, how competitive I am going to be for how long. That's where I was coming from, really. But in terms of where I want to get to, I want to be able to race with the top levels of, like, the best drivers in the world, to compete against them and to say that, hey, I'm the best possible racer I could be, and I'm competing against racers who have loads more experience, who are winners, and hopefully one day have win some international races and be amongst these drivers. And one of the races that I would love to do is the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It's an endurance race. It takes place over 24 hours, and it's something that when I was watching racing, or before I started racing, was something that I was just in awe of. So yeah, I think that would be a dream for me, to be in that race and to win it.